That's right. It is Free Talk Live, and you are free to call in and talk live here on Free Talk Live. It is Mark with you,
Melanie,
and Mike.
The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Got apparently a magazine ban was overturned in California by a Fed court, Mike?
Yes. San Francisco federal court under Judge Benitez ordered a block of the enforcement of California's ban on magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. He deemed it inconsistent with the Second Amendment right to keep arms for self-defense. And he basically said that the 10-round magazine ban was a severe restriction on the core right of self-defense of the home, such that it amounts to a destruction of the right and is unconstitutional under any level of scrutiny.
So that's circuit court level?
Yes.
Okay.
So that'll be going up to the Ninth Circuit to the full, if California wants to appeal it, they'll take it up to the
Supreme Court.
Yeah, eventually to the Supreme Court.
So I'm really stunned to hear a federal judge even talk about the right to self-defense.
What's interesting is he blocked this law's enforcement. So he's enjoined California against enforcing the law while the legal process is pursued. And it's been an interesting fallout just within the last 24 hours or so since this ruling was issued. For instance, Magpul, which is one of the country's largest manufacturer of aftermarket gun magazines, is backordered. Their inventory has been drained from orders from California.
Sure, everybody wants to get these magazines before the ban goes in. The funny thing is you can just order them to some P.O. box in Nevada, and I'm not saying that it doesn't make sense for them to try to do it now, but I'm just it's not like it's going to be that hard to get a magazine into California. They're not very big,
right? It's not hard to get them, but possession and being caught possessing them is where the real problem is.
Sure. At this point, they're back ordering, though. I mean, clearly they're not that concerned about possession problems, and for whatever reason, it doesn't seem like the federal government goes after the list of people who ordered this stuff.
Well, in this case, it's a California state law, so it's not a federal issue. What we are seeing, though, with a lot of the gun control laws that have been put into place in the last few years is they're not grandfathering much. So in California, when it comes to high-capacity magazines or non-compliant, quote, assault rifles, i.e., normal everyday rifles.
Right, rifles that happen to have black parts.
Yes. And, they're banning them outright, so they need to be collected and destroyed. And that's also happening, this magazine ban has also happened in New Jersey. The New Jersey magazine ban just came into effect at the beginning of this year, and nobody's complying. I think that Newark has reported absolutely nobody has turned in a single high-capacity magazine.
This is a big problem when you begin to hand down regulations like this and laws like this, and nobody complies. It really undermines the state in a sense. They're like, well, now what do we do? Because going door to door and grabbing guns is not a particularly efficient method of getting guns.
No, and this is where we're going to start seeing some serious violence, because states are also passing what they're calling red flag laws, which means that if you own some guns and someone doesn't like you, whether it's an ex-girlfriend, an ex-wife, a family member you're having a tiff with, a neighbor, they can call up the police and say, I know they have guns. I don't feel they're mentally stable. I'm fearful about them, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And the police don't even need a court order under the red flag laws. They will come to your house and they will confiscate your arms. And then the burden is on you to go to court to get your guns back.
And it's cheaper to just the best handgun you can get. I bought the gun I felt like buying, and it cost $500. Lawyer is going to be a lot more than that. You're cheaper just going and buying another one.
Yeah. Well, the other side is that there's going to be deaths. I mean, there's already in Maryland, which has started enforcing their red flag law, one gun owner tried to resist this process, and the police shot him. And there's, going to be increasing violence in both directions here. There are standoffs going on. People are, starting to resist and stand up against this.
Right. There's a good percentage of the population in the United States has said to themselves, said a little oath to themselves, look, at this point, this is the line. This is my line in the sand. When they come to take my guns, when I haven't done anything else, that's when I'm going to go, postal on them. And do you want to push people to their line? Is that the goal here? I mean, I've seen a lot of these liberal sorts at these gun grabbing rallies that really do say, all right, if we've got to take them from your cold, dead hands, we will. Now, of course, it's not the coward holding the sign.
Yeah,
the coward holding the sign, you could slap him and he'd fall down and wet himself.
It's like some 4-foot tall woman who weighs 80 pounds. Like, yeah, no. Right. I mean, the state usually stays tries to stay right before where that line is. I mean, if I sat down and I was like, you know what, I want as many cops to die as possible, and I am completely amoral about collateral damage, I would write this law. Like, I don't know how else you come to that conclusion.
Right. It's absolutely dangerous for police to do this.
Because it's not gonna work.
Well, it's certainly not going to grab a lot of guns, but I think that in many cases these guns are kind of written for the police. So they're the frog in the pot that's being boiled, because they're the ones that it's just a little bit. It's just a little bit more. It's a little bit more. Everybody can get on board with the idea of taking guns from ex-convicts. Everybody can get on board of taking guns away from clearly crazy people. Nobody wants clearly crazy people to have them.
How do you define that?
Right. Right, that's the problem. Is how in the world do we come to a definition of who's crazy? Are you telling me we're just going to take guns from people who haven't been convicted of anything?
If you go by the official definition of sanity under, what the psychiatrists say, is that everyone, there's absolutely nobody that's 100% sane.
Sure.
Yeah, we are all on a spectrum of sanity versus insanity.
Right.
And so, it's all a matter of perspective as to how crazy is too crazy.
Absolutely. I would say that,
if there's a psychiatrist or psychologist calling people insane, they probably need to have their license reevaluated, because that's not a medical term, it's a legal term.
Oh, got it.
Well, they've got politically correct terms now, but
right. I think we all have.
I mean, for a while, it's like there's no diagnosis of insane.
No, but I think we've all met somebody who were like, oh yeah, that person absolutely should not have a gun. Right? I mean, admittedly, have we all met this person?
I don't know that I don't think I've met a person who I thought shouldn't have a gun that actually had a gun.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that they did. Often they self-select out.
Because there's people who say, I don't think I should have a gun. And if you say that to me, I'm going to agree. I'm not going to argue with you, right? Because if you don't want one, you probably shouldn't have one. That's kind of the biggest disqualifier to me. Outside of that, I've never been like, that guy shouldn't be packing heat. Like, I don't think I've ever thought that to myself.
Oh, well, I've absolutely met crazy people. I mean,
I've met a lot of leftists who shouldn't be carrying.
I mean, outside of like cops, right? But
no, I've absolutely met insane people, and they scare me. And it's like, oh yeah, I don't want that person to have a gun. And I'm surprised that you haven't met anybody like that. I'm not saying that the government should go around trying to find these people and remove guns from them. I think that that's a problem that ultimately would solve itself. Most of them choose not to carry weapons, which is a good choice. They also don't have the money management skills to be able to put $500 down for one.
Well, that's kind of a higher end pistol. You can get a handgun for $200.
Yeah, you probably could.
That. You can. I mean,
you
can
break
Saturday
it in a
night
house.
special is that's easily $100.
Yeah, you can walk into any gun store with $200 and be like, I want a gun. You can find one cheaper than that, but
probably.
Like they're not that expensive.
So can you buy guns on like Craigslist and stuff like that? I don't know.
It depends on what state you live in, and you can probably find them anyways. But
all right, the number 855-450.
In New Hampshire, you can.
Yeah, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733 here on Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live. Looks like California has had its magazine ban. That's a magazine as in the thing that holds bullets.
Yes. What liberals and gun grabbers and people who have no experience with guns call the clip.
A clip. Now, there is a clip.
There are 3 guns who have had clips.
Right. The M1 Garand.
Which is the main reason why liberals use the word clip for all magazines.
Yeah.
Because the only experience anyone in their family has ever had with a firearm is when Granddad was drafted into the Army in World War II and was issued the M1.
It's an effective weapon, like serviceable and cheap and things like that. And what are the other guns that had clips? You don't know that. I thought you were gonna give us a lesson on clips.
I had a list in top of my head a couple of months ago, and I can't recall them at the moment.
I tell you what, if you go to Freedom Fest, you'll find somebody who knows this right off the top of their head. It's the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. Freedom Fest theme this year is the Wild West. Liberty and opportunity, or lawlessness and violence? Penn Jillette, Candace Owens, John Mackey, Kevin O'Leary, Kevin Harrington, those are both of Shark Tank, Stephen Moore, Grover Norquist, libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, capitalists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. You use coupon code FTLEB and you get a discount. Plus, at freedomfest.com, you'll get 5 of the best speeches from last year. So if, for instance, you're like, I don't know about that going to the Freedom Fest thing, go and get educated about it. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL. You'll see Judge Napolitano, Alan Dershowitz, Charlie Kirk, Heather McDonald, and John Mackey, all for free. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. And so they've issued this ban, and apparently the judge in I guess the circuit court, 9th Circuit Court judge, is that correct?
Yeah, Judge Benitez.
He says basically that nope, you can't ban magazines. That's a violation of the right to keep and bear arms. And well, good for him. I mean, great. But I guess one of the questions I come up with is the same one that lots of people ask. I've seen these 100-round barrels that they have for certain weapons. I don't think it's for the AR-15, which we were talking about.
Those tend to jam. They're not very good.
They tend to jam. You can get those for a Thompson submachine gun. You can get them for the Cho-Cho. You can get them. You can get a 100-round magazine for an AR-15 firearm. Yeah, you can. But like she said, there's
the only time I've seen them on the shelf, they were usually listed as novelty items, and they always had like some sort of zombie picture stuff on them as if it was a toy and not a weapon.
I see. Well, hopefully it doesn't jam.
Well, the bump stock is a novelty item, but being a novelty item shouldn't be a basis for banning anything.
Indeed. I think that obviously all these things people should be able to buy, but, I do kind of wonder, and Mike, I want to take this from you in a minute, but what's sort of the reason that somebody would need a magazine this larger than 10?
Well,
just hold on. Let me take the call here. Matthew, calling in from Louisiana. Matthew, you're on Free Talk Live.
Range time is expensive. Okay, I've got a couple of jokes.
Okay.
First, the ladies need to be careful about what they buy for hair care products because they could attract bees or Biden.
Okay.
Apparently.
Yeah,
there's another one.
There's a lot of creepy Joe Biden pictures out there.
Joe Wan.
Yeah.
And he loves that lady's hair. Then there's another one. That China has an issue with not having enough young ladies to go around for the young men in China.
I've heard that.
So that's why a lot of Chinese young men are interested in going to Africa. And do you know where they're interested in going to?
Egypt?
Djibouti.
Oh, that's what we got, huh?
That's it. All right, ciao.
Thanks for the call.
Okay.
I don't know. Seemed like if you wanted to go to Africa, Egypt would be the place you wanted to go.
So why would you need to have, quote, high capacity magazines? First off, if we're dealing with the AR-15, The 20-round magazine is by design called, on the engineering documents, the standard capacity magazine.
So 20 rounds is standard capacity.
Yes.
A 10-round magazine is a low capacity round.
That's correct.
Okay.
And so in some states where if you're going hunting with your AR-15, you have to have a 5-round magazine because they don't want you having too much ammo to take out the deer. The real reason for having more than 10 rounds is obviously for defensive purposes. And so, that's a perfectly legitimate reason. The majority of the states have either stand your ground or castle doctrine laws in place. At the very least, they have.
And if they don't, you got to get rid of everybody.
Yep. So, U.S. history is replete.
I mean, not witnesses, but everyone is attacking you. all of the aggressors. You have to get rid of all of the aggressors.
No. When you shoot them in the back when they're running from the house, you got to drag them back in.
Some states you have to do that. Yeah.
U.S. history is replete with instances where mobs have attacked people. The most recent history is, I remember those that I can think of off the top of my head. There's probably something more recent than this, but I remember the Rodney King riots that went on in L.A.
And many stores were being looted, and it was interesting that there were quite a few Koreans who were very well armed and took up positions on the roofs of their stores and defended their stores with firearms. And they didn't get looted.
And, before that, there was, there's been several instances where African Americans have been targeted by, the police or, race-oriented gangs.
The whole reason the NRA was founded was really to teach freed slaves to use their firearms safely. And one of the reasons the Democrats created the KKK was to go after freed slaves who were uppity enough to try to defend themselves.
To own a gun, right?
And, but in terms of instances of where you would need this sort of capacity magazines, and often these people will say, oh, you're, dealing with a tyrannical government can't happen because they have the jets and the bombs and so forth. Well, I'll point people to a historical fact.
Right. Hold on just a second. Do these people send infantry in to hold ground?
After World War II, in the town of Athens, Tennessee, there was an election, and while all the boys of military age were overseas serving, the local political establishment got taken over by a bunch of rather corrupt fellows, and particularly the sheriff's office. And when the vets came home from the war, they saw how corrupt things were politically, and they organized their own platform for the election. And the corrupt sheriff seized all the ballot boxes and tried to rig the election. And these veterans took out their weapons
in one Garens that we were talking about,
and they went to get a hold of the seized ballot boxes, and there was a battle. It was known. You can go on Wikipedia, look up the Battle of Athens, Tennessee, and read all about it. And this is the citizens standing up against tyranny, and this is the purpose of the Second Amendment.
Yeah, I certainly don't want to fight, get together a couple of thousand guys with AR-15s and attempt to storm Washington, D.C. or anything like that. I don't think that would be particularly effective, but yeah, absolutely.
Well,
infantry holds ground.
That doesn't mean I don't want to.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Free Talk Live. You're welcome to call in. Talk about whatever's on your mind. If it's between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time, any day of the year, Free Talk Live's on the air, and you can call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
Melanie.
And Mike.
And we're talking about a situation that has presented itself in California, and it surprises me that this is what's going on, but it seems to be the case, is that, in fact, a federal court judge has ruled that yes, you do have a right to keep and bear arms, even in California, and that their magazine ban is unconstitutional and has been tossed out. I'm stunned, flabbergasted, delighted, but surprised, I must say. I tell you what is going to be happening here in the near future, Forkfest. At Forkfest 2019, you can start planning now to attend Forkfest 2019 with us. We'll be there. You can join liberty-minded voluntarists, libertarians, even people who are calling themselves anarchists. Next summer from June, I don't know, I hate how Ian writes this. This summer and next summer are the same thing, right?
Yes.
I mean, like the next summer is this summer. But anyway, that's how Ian writes that. That's how he says that. So anyway, this summer, June 13th through the 18th, Forkfest 2019. It's at Rogers Campground, beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. It's a fork of other camping parties that are in the woods, and you're invited to come and create whatever experience you want to have. It's great. There'll be man camp and a variety of other things going on. Check it out. Some people will probably be making guns because you can do that. Go to forkfest.party. Yes, that's a website. Forkfest.party. You can find out about the unofficial Telegram chat or the forum. Find out what you want to find out regarding the event, but we'll be there.
Is Cody Wilson going to be there?
I don't know.
I think he's still in exile, isn't he?
I doubt he will be there at Forkfest.party. He hasn't said that he was going to be. But I was going to bring him up in this segment regarding gun freedom, because if you go to, I think it's ghostgunner.com, he built this. He's the founded this company that allows you to make AR-15 lowers out of aluminum. And, well,
he's been doing some great things. And, I can claim that I knew him when back in like 2001, I was an admin of a Yahoo group that was archiving CNC files for people to machine their own firearms. And this is when Cody came out with his original Liberator design for 3D printing. And I got in touch with him, and I got him into the group, and I introduced him to the Free State Project and to Bitcoin and all that.
And he came and he spoke at Liberty Forum.
Yeah, so he's been doing some fantastic things with not just educating people about the true meaning of firearms ownership rights, the Second Amendment, but making the technology so that the very idea of gun control is obsolete. I mean, if you
ultimately it is at this point. I mean, as I think you've pointed out, Mike, that somebody with $10 can go to Home Depot and put together out of plumbing equipment a reasonably functional firearm. I'm not saying it's probably not a sniper rifle. But
no, but it's something that if you were in a tyrannical situation, it would serve the same purpose as the original Liberator, which was built in large quantities during World War II and airdropped over Europe for people to use to liberate a military weapon from a Nazi soldier.
They build guns in prisons, people.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to stop guns from existing. Now, ammunition, California, this is a sort of a question I've always had, is California recently made it illegal to use lead in ammunition, copper only.
Yes.
And I kind of like this law because I don't like the idea of lead going out all over the place, in the environment and that kind of thing.
Well,
randomly distributed lead.
Claims,
unless you're having regular shootouts, it's not going out all over the place into the environment.
Well,
and
I mean,
even if it is going out, lead in bullets is incredibly inert. Okay, claims about the bullet lead being toxic is completely bogus.
Oh,
it's completely bogus. A gun club up near where I live, the Enfield Sportsman's Club. I was an officer in, and we were dealing with this where neighbors were trying to claim, "Oh, your lead is poisoning the water in the wetlands next to the club."
Sounds reasonable, right?
So we went and we did tests of the ground and the water from the berm that was catching the bullets all the way down to the stream, and we showed there was absolutely no migration whatsoever of lead through the soil or through the water. And we could scoop up the sand from the berm and sift out all the lead and recycle it all very easily. But the fact is that lead in bullets does not leach into the environment. It's very inert. It forms a layer of oxide around the lead that prevents further oxidation, and it just stays there in the ground.
Well, very good. I didn't know that. I've learned something. Let's go to Pat calling in from New Hampshire. Pat, you're on Free Talk Live.
Is this me?
I don't know. Are you Pat?
I'm Packet Sniffer.
Okay. What's on your mind, Packet Sniffer?
Yeah, I'm just calling in. These magazine laws are ridiculous. It's been proven that you can shoot just as many bullets with semi-automatic as you can with full automatic. You don't need a bump stock.
Yeah, a bump stock is just when they call it a novelty item, it's pretty close to that because you can make an AR-15 just rock in your arms and do the same thing.
And you can do it, you can put a rubber band around the trigger and
you don't
easily
even
simulate
need a rubber band. You can just put your thumb in your belt loop and just anything to hold your hand in place while you push the firearm forward. It will fire rapidly. You don't need any sort of device. It's kind of stupid. The people that are fighting for bump stock, I don't know. I mean, you really don't need a bump stock to fire inaccurately fast.
And I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the bump stock. I think that it makes it less safe firing because that sort of it's because of the stock is loosed in order to enable that. You're not going to be putting your bullets where you intend them because the barrel's going to bounce around as it bounces.
Necessarily would have to.
Yeah, and they wouldn't exist if they hadn't banned full autos.
That's correct. And so,
I mean, the whole rule is based on I want to shoot my bullets wherever the heck I want, and the bump stock allows me to do that inaccurately. But you can just pull the trigger fast too. You don't need a bump stock to be inaccurate and reckless.
Correct.
That's true. You can be reckless without a bump stock.
Absolutely. That's all my point. Hey, I enjoyed my time with you trolling the trolls in Discord this morning, Mark.
Let's go. Let's talk about the Discord chat. So folks can go to Discord.
Discord is just zinc. That's all I have to say. Just zinc. Buy zinc.
Thanks for the call, Packet Sniffer.
Yeah.
There are some inside jokes that if you spend a little time on the Discord chat, you will find. Look, if you act like an adult, they're happy to welcome you to the Discord chat. You're going to have a fine time. I mean, everybody's having a good time there, whatever. You come in, act like a troll, it's going to go badly. And that's that. So discord.freetalklive.com, and Packet Sniffer is he's right in there, having a good time with everybody else. It's discord.freetalklive.com. So I am surprised to hear that copper bullets aren't really safer for the environment than anything else, but I was expecting this magazine ban to stay in effect because I wasn't really sure whether a magazine qualified as an arm and as an armament, and therefore may not be protected by the Second Amendment.
The Supreme Court upheld Trump's ban on the bump stock, and the bump stock isn't an arm either; it's an accessory.
An accessory.
So, but you could make a case that every part of the gun is an accessory, other than the receiver and the barrel,
right?
So in that respect, the Second Amendment should apply to all accessories that you can attach to any sort of firearm because it applies to all weapons, not just
bullets?
firearms. And bullets too.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450. Free as in Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733. You can call in, talk about whatever you want. We're talking about the California having its magazine ban overturned by the Federal Circuit Court. Stunning developments. 855-450-3733. And I can tell you there's a group of people out there that do support people's right to keep and bear arms. That group of people are the Free Talk Live amplifiers. People who've stepped up and are willing to donate $5 a month, the whopping amount that maybe one of those fancy coffees at Starbucks costs you. You go to amp.freetalklive.com, as Bill Berry has. Thank you, Bill. He is a silver amplifier, and you can be one too. And we'll thank you right here on the air. Go to amp.freetalklive.com. That's amp.freetalklive.com, and support us spreading the ideas of liberty around the world 7 days a week. amp.freetalklive.com. Let's go to Dave calling in from New Hampshire. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live.
Gentlemen.
And lady.
Free Stater Aaron Day in New Hampshire has indicated he's going to make another run for New Hampshire Senate.
Not New Hampshire Senate, for the U.S. Senate.
I'm sorry, did I say I meant U.S. Senate? Correct.
U.S. Senate from New Hampshire.
A New Hampshire U.S. Senate seat.
What? Yes. Okay.
He's planning on running against Jeanne Shaheen, and ostensibly, it looks like Chris Sununu, the current governor, is going to be running for Senate against Shaheen for the Republican Party.
Sununu is going to leave the governor seat?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at that. Who's the GOP going to put up to replace him for that?
I don't know. He's pretty popular,
and he's right now the only thing blocking a lot of the stupid status stuff that the Democrats are trying to push through.
Well, yeah, the Democrats got in this last go round, and they want to put things through like rules that make it much harder to homeschool your kid. There's a rule that they want to put together a committee to study the feasibility of outlawing mushroom picking in the woods.
Oh, they want to do the plastic straw ban and the plastic bag bans, and all kinds of stuff.
The educate your kid ban, the breed your dog ban, every ban that they can put in place, they're looking for some banning.
Yep.
I mean, forget going out there and passing some stuff that would actually pass that Democrats might like.
Oh, and tons of gun control. They wanted to pass a gun-free school zone law that would basically say that if a school bus goes by your house, you can't have any guns in your home.
Now, there you go. Dave, what's your hope as far as Aaron Day running?
Well, with regard to the House in New Hampshire, it's typical for a lot of crazy bills to come up and they almost all get killed. But yeah, I mean, they are attempting to do some bad stuff. We'll see what happens. The Sununu will probably veto a lot of it. But with Aaron, last time he ran in, I guess it would have been 2014 for the state. Sorry, I can't
2016
think in imperial terms. It just doesn't work with me anymore. For the U.S. Senate, he was thought to have possibly spoiled that election for the authoritarian Republican who was running.
Oh yes.
And he got enough votes as a libertarian or a write-in candidate or something like that. He got enough votes that maybe he was independent. But he got enough votes that he got more votes in the margin between the Republican and the Democrat who were running. And some people have, I think, constructively claimed that he may have actually changed the outcome of that election.
Yeah, he threw the election for Maggie Hassan so that she was able to join Jeanne Shaheen in the Senate.
This is always a tough question for me. Is on one hand, I got to vote for the person I wanted to vote for. On the other hand, well, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that George Bush Sr.
take all, and you don't have some kind of ranked type of voting.
I'd love to have ranked voting
where you can, if you don't get your first choice, your second.
But if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're likely to get the same results, and the same thing over and over again, maybe voting Republican or Democrat. And
right,
I just don't know when it comes to these things. I do kind of feel like Perot threw the 92 election to Clinton. Because most of the people who voted for Perot probably would have voted for George Bush if they, at least a good portion of them.
Right.
So, could be.
Well, if he was doing this at the the imperial level instead of the New Hampshire level. I'm sorry. If he was doing this at the New Hampshire level instead of the imperial level, I would be more upset about it because the New Hampshire Republicans really are better than the New Hampshire Democrats. Generally, but
the New Hampshire GOP as an organization is pretty poorly organized and run.
Yeah, it's hard to call it an organization.
Well, the lack of organization is part of what has allowed Free Staters to have as much power.
Oh, very much. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's not. When he's running at the imperial level, he's just running against two sides of the same coin. there's no indication that Democrats are really any worse to speak of at the imperial level than Republicans. They're both crazy authoritarians.
Well, there's a lot of people, a lot of free staters in New Hampshire that extol Sununu, this Chris Sununu guy. Not that I know a lot about him. I don't spend that much time looking at this stuff, and they say he's pretty libertarian.
Well, I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Because he's not at the national level yet, right? Once he gets to the national level, he'll get worse.
Well,
but
I would have to I can't guarantee this, okay? But his brother, John Sununu Jr., when he was in the Senate, was considered the most libertarian member of the U.S. Senate when he was in the U.S. Senate.
A qualified statement at best.
Which is very, he wasn't anywhere near as great as Ron Paul was, but among the U.S. senators, because Paul was in the House, he was the most libertarian, which, was... That
was the RLC rating that, the Republican Liberty Caucus. Yeah, they used to do that rating. They don't do it anymore, sadly. Or at least I haven't seen one recently.
So if Chris holds similar views to his brother, I think he would be a noticeable improvement for the New Hampshire delegation in the U.S. Senate.
I agree. And he has a history of generally acting like his family. And his family was better in the New Hampshire. His family was better in the Imperial Senate than most Imperial senators, and better than the current New Hampshire delegation to the Imperial Senate.
So, has anybody given Aaron Day flack about running, or what's going on?
Oh, I'm sure his mother is.
Oh, just give it seconds.
His mother is a very high-ranking member of the U.S. Republican National Committee.
Oh, I see.
And so his running as a spoiler candidate caused a significant amount of family conflict in the 2016.
Apparently, he hasn't learned his lesson.
No, he hasn't.
It's a problem with teaching people lessons. Just doesn't go out as well as you'd like it to. Well, Dave, thanks for the update.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
See you, Dave.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Third-party runs. I must say that I'm on the fence about them. There's times that I think they're great, and to some extent, Aaron Day's putting on notice the Republican Party. Right?
Oh, yeah.
He's run as a Republican in the past. It's pretty clear he's a disenchanted Republican, and they lost the last go around by the sounds of the margin that he had, and so you could say that he spoiled that election. And does that mean that they will put up a better candidate? Is Sununu a better candidate than was the previous Republican? I would tend to think so. Yeah. At what point does Mr. Day lay down his protest against the system, the Republican system, and all that, and say, well, this is good enough? And I don't really have an answer for that. Obviously, I'm not Aaron Day, so I can't say.
And I tend to take, sort of a glasses half empty sort of approach. Like when an election is very contested, particularly in battleground states, I will do the lesser evil with absolutely no compunctions.
Yeah.
But when a given race is safely
right away
going to be one way or the other, I will put my libertarian vote down on the libertarian candidate.
I suspect I voted for Aaron Day in the last go-round, so I would be one of those people that did vote for him, just because I'm like, oh, that's my buddy. I know him, and I'm going to throw it out there. One thing that I always sort of, assuage my guilt with is, well, my one vote didn't truly make the difference. It wasn't the one that made the difference in that election. Now, it might have been one of the ones that made the difference, but it's not.
How many people think that their vote doesn't count, though?
Well, but that's kind of irrelevant. So if they're all right, then they're all right. Like, and at a federal level, first of all, you have to make a hell of a lot of assumptions to even think that elections are real. But assuming that they are.
If you count the number of people who did not have valid ID to vote, but voted under an affidavit and then didn't get their driver's license like they were supposed to under the law.
I know two of them.
Who voted.
I know some of those people, but they are, in fact, New Hampshire residents.
855-450-3733. What do you think about third parties? And should people not vote for them? 855-450-FREE is in Free Talk Live.
She seems happier. Her fur is so much shinier, silkier, softer. She has really mellowed a lot.
Sheba is a 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life.
The shedding has stopped. The itching has stopped.
Since 2001, we've helped more than 250,000 dogs get over their nutritional deficiency miseries.
And saved our customers bazillions in vet bills.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa. The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Dynovite for life.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dynovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Free Talk Live.
That's right. It is Free Talk Live. We're kicking off the second hour of Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
Melanie.
And Mike.
The number's 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. And I've got a story here. Apparently, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's got a new project that she's working on. I want to tell you about that.
The occasional cortex, as we like to call it.
Sometimes she's thinking. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yes, you know what? I have a hypothesis.
You have a hypothesis? All right.
Thank you for using the correct word.
It's not a theory.
Well, I don't know. It's just
well, unless you have a whole lot of evidence and have done valid studies, it's not a theory, and people usually misuse that word. So thank you for not calling it a theory.
So what is this hypothesis?
Well, I mean, I've been living here for a long time, and there is a reason that this state has so much crime.
The state of?
Traditionally, it's like
you've said that you've been living here some time, and that the state has a lot of crime. Where are we referring to, Sarah?
New Mexico and Albuquerque, we have a lot of crime.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
Well, the thing is, and the reason is that it's always been this way, and the reason is because this state has been settled by criminals.
The state was settled by criminals. All right, I know nothing of this history of New Mexico.
Billy the Kid.
Okay, well, there you go.
You got the Earps, and you got Bat Masterson, and you got Doc Holliday. They're all New Mexicans.
And I have not studied the history of New Mexico, but that will do it. Because if you keep the same, unless you have some kind of upheaval in the population, that will accomplish that.
If it's settled by criminals in the first place?
Yeah, because then
they pass
anybody
it on.
They're either letting in or having kids, then
criminals have criminals
tend to be similar types of people.
I very much believe in the genetics, the personality, and criminal intent is also hereditary. And so is mental illness. And then also
there's some pretty good evidence that a lot of mental illness has severe environmental factors, that they're caused by trauma and extended trauma. And extended abuse. That also.
Yeah, seriously. If you look at statistics, when they stopped using lead paint, there's a very good curve from the start of using lead paint to the stop of using lead paint, correlates very closely with the big boost in crime and the drop in crime in a lot of particularly cities.
Right now, I think it's probably dominated by environmental factors, just because of the fact that we have rampant abuse, neglect, and poison, apparently. But if you take all that away, then I'm sure that it would be almost exclusively ruled by genetics.
Are you calling in to support people in New Mexico, good law-abiding people in New Mexico's right to keep and bear arms to protect themselves from criminals in New Mexico?
Well, I'm in favor of passing the gun control law because
of course
many
you are.
of the criminals have guns.
Sarah, the criminals are always going to get guns.
Sarah, what criminals obey the law?
Right, but if you make it difficult the harder it is to get, the less they're going to have guns. That's
Mike was just telling us how you can go make a gun out of $10 from plumbing parts at Walmart.
Give me $10 and to go to Home Depot, and I can make a firearm for you in about 30 or 40 minutes.
Well, I mean, the criminals, I don't know if they're that sophisticated to put together.
You don't need to.
No, they don't need to be.
They don't need to
all
be.
they need to do is know other criminals that are that sophisticated.
Yeah. You could also go online and get blueprints for several types of guns.
Ask any gangbanger how to build a zip gun, and I guarantee you 9 out of 10 of them can do it.
Sarah, let's go off and let's do this right now. Let's list the places with the highest crime and list the places that have the most restrictive gun laws, and I'll bet you those lists correlate. Now, certainly there are places with low crime that don't have that have bad gun that have restricted gun laws, and there are places with low crime rates that have very free gun. But you could almost exclusively in the U.S. places that have restrictive gun laws. The places with high crime have restrictive gun laws, and it just doesn't work.
Well, you know, this is the first time here in New Mexico that we passed the gun law in the large city, Las Cruces, Santa Fe, and Albuquerque, and I think it's going to make a difference.
Okay, I really hope it will.
I think the difference you're going to...
It's been outlawed for
decades.
It'll
make a difference. The problem is which direction.
It's been for decades now, Sarah. Decades that convicted felons it's been against the law for them to own weapons. Decades, and that hasn't worked.
Well, anyways, I just want to say that this state has been for the criminals, because once they kill somebody and hit New Mexico, they stop looking for them. That's why the reservations were here, and the Mormons that were persecuted, they settled close from the.
There are Indian reservations in almost every state in the country, Sarah.
Oh yeah, but this is a place it's just a dust bowl back then. You can't grow anything. There's no water. So then. I mean, I know we got reservations all over, but this whole state is like almost half reservations.
It's always
like
been a desert for the last 1,000 years, since the Pueblo peoples, basically used their corn and wore away all the soil.
But the thing is, that's the reason that explains why the criminals ran over here and hid. Once they made it, nobody stopped bothering with them, because if they were in New York and Carolinas, the 13 colonies, they would get hung. Once they caught them, they'd just be hanging off the tree.
So you're saying it's still lawless there, or
so
what?
You don't think it's because of the trade in human trafficking coming up from the south?
What about human trafficking and what? New Mexico? What did you say?
That's coming up from the southern border.
Well, I do not know how much that is so true, but New Mexico has always been favorable to abusive towards women. They found 13 women murdered on the West Mesa. They found 13, and they were all prostitutes. They got all murdered, and they still do not know who killed them.
Well, yeah. Well, so that doesn't mean they're favorable to murdering women. That just means that it is difficult to figure out who murdered a prostitute, and that is difficult.
Right. These are people who keep their dealings below board, and it's one of the reasons that prostitutes tend to be the target of these things is because, well, these are ladies that will be compliant for money and are not reporting their whereabouts to law enforcement or really anybody else. So it's tough.
What I'm saying is the human trafficking, that crime, the prostitution and pimps here, they're just ruthless because there's no penalties. It's a lawless state. It's a very dangerous state for women, by the way.
Well, the pimps are ruthless because there's no marginal cost to not being ruthless. They're already committing a felony, so what are you going to do? Be like, oh, well, now it's a double felony. If prostitution was legal, as horrible as it is, then there would be a cost to them behaving badly in addition to that, and they'd be less likely to do it. Right now, there's no additional cost to that. They're already in trouble for prostitution, so if they get caught, it kind of doesn't matter what else they're going on because they're still going to jail for a very long time.
If the hookers could do their job legally in brothels with guns on their hips, that'd be a lot less crime against hookers.
And that's the thing with any sort of a black market is it's not just the competition over territory or the fact that you're dealing in a criminal enterprise, but the fact that when you have people who are being exploited and taken advantage of, they don't have a legal redress avenue. You can't go to court and say, my pimp stole my hooking money.
So they have to fight it out on the street.
So they fight it out on the street, whether it's a fight between the pimp and the hooker, or the hooker and the John, or whatever. As you know, when you're dealing with something that should be a victimless commercial enterprise, anyways.
But what are the hopes that this is a Christian-based country? The origin of it is Christianity. So what you're conjuring up of making prostitution, that's almost impossible.
Prostitution's been legal in the United States for just about the whole history.
Not to throw stones at prostitutes.
Yeah, 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE. Don't throw stones at prostitutes. It's Free Talk Live, and you can call in and talk about whatever you want to talk about, just like Sarah did there, talking about New Mexico hookers. The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. It's Mark with you.
Melanie.
And Mike.
Got a story here from the New York Post about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but first I want to tell you about Bitcoin.com. They're your premier source for everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency related. You can help. They can help you choose a Bitcoin wallet, buy Bitcoin, show you where you can spend your Bitcoin. Places like saveatpurse.com. They've got free Bitcoins over at free.bitcoin.com. They got news at news.bitcoin.com. You can engage with the community in their forum at the Bitcoin forum over there. You can learn all of this stuff and more. Just go to bitcoin.com. They've got games that you can play with your Bitcoin. It's learn more at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com. So it says here from the New York Post, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez turned an overpriced croissant into a lesson on the minimum wage. Croissants at LaGuardia are going for $7 a piece. The New York Democrat tweeted Monday morning, yet some people think getting a whole hour of personal dedicated human labor for $15 is too expensive. She said her point wasn't that the croissant cost too much, although $7 is outrageous for a croissant.
Why does it cost $7?
Because it's available at the airport behind a security screen.
Because the people working at those places are getting union wages.
Yeah, in all likelihood, if you raise the price, if you raise this, by the way, people working in New York City, I'll bet that the number of people who are working for less than $15 is vanishingly small.
Yeah.
Vanishingly small. Now, I'm not saying that there's not somebody inside the city of New York that isn't getting less than $15 an hour. But
wait staff can legally be paid less than the minimum wage because they more than make up for it in tips.
Well, presumably they are doing that job because they are making significantly more in tips. That's what I saw as a waiter. I got paid well better than minimum wage.
Yep.
Because, well, I smiled and took care of my customers. I don't know. Obviously, some restaurants are better than others. Not all restaurants are created equal, but you think they'd leave if they weren't getting paid enough. There's lots of places for wait staff.
Oh, especially now because there's a growing labor shortage that's not just in states like New Hampshire, but it's spreading across the country.
It's hard to find people who are willing to work.
Well, that are or that are worth hiring.
Well, a shortage isn't really a real thing. The problem is, you can't get wait staff if you're willing to pay for wait staff. The restaurants clearly aren't willing, and the clients indirectly, because restaurants have a weird wage system, aren't willing to pay what it would go for. You can by definition always get something at the going rate.
Well, what is the going rate? I'll have to contest that claim that you can't that they're not willing to pay. McDonald's, I mean, the ultimate.
They have a terrible time.
They're paying $12 and $13 an hour as a base wage.
But the supply curve exists. There is a price point at which you can hire people.
They're providing 401k, health care, and as much as $3,500 a year in educational benefits. When you calculate that all out, McDonald's is paying between $16 and $18 an hour for burger flipping.
Well,
then the market said no, so they either can realize that they're not going to have employees, or they can, pay people more and raise the prices. Like, those are the options.
And it demonstrates that minimum wages are unnecessary when the market.
I tend to think minimum wages are unnecessary, as I'm sure Melanie agrees. It's just that what they're trying to do is insert themselves, and in many cases, like right now, when most of the country is paying, or at least a good portion of the country is paying better than $15 an hour, it's easy to pass a minimum wage increase. Yeah. The problem is when you have a economic downturn like they did in 2008, then the floor of the wages can't go down, and the companies can't. So companies go out of business, or they cut employees.
In a downturn, the floor of the wages can go down, and you've got people lining up for burger flipping type jobs who have.
But if you have a minimum wage, they can't go down. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Once if there's a minimum wage in place, then you can't give a cut. You just have to let them go. That's your choice.
Or increase the prices, so you wind up with inflation.
Well, nobody wants to increase prices during the economic downturn. Mm-hmm. McDonald's cut its prices during the economic downturn, had a $1 menu, which at this point is more than $1 last I saw.
Way more.
And so, I mean, there were at like 10 things on that $1 menu that you could go to McDonald's and get.
And right now, McDonald's has, they just announced this week that they're no longer contributing to a industry group that lobbies against raising the minimum wage, because they're already paying so much more than the minimum wage.
Yeah, why would they?
It's a waste of money.
Yeah, that tends to be the position of large corporations in a monopolistic or quasi-monopolistic position.
Yeah, because they offer, the fact is that people who work at McDonald's tend to work very hard. They have quite a schedule there. Whereas if you go work at the mom and pop place, there might be a little bit of time to fiddle around on your phone between pizza orders or something. Not going to be that way at McDonald's.
Right.
Walmart co-wrote the ACA, and that's going to cost them money.
Right.
But
That's
they don't care because
Obamacare.
they know that their competitors can't afford it.
It's going to cost their competitors more.
They're also starting to provide health care through Walmarts. Yeah.
Well, we'll see how that goes. Let me go on with the story here. GOP taking every tweet so earnestly, making my point for me. It's not an argument against the price of the croissant. It's about the value of human worth. But I guess the idea is foreign to them since their policies treat people as disposable anyway. To me, I heard this, her tweeting about a $7 croissant. And I just imagined, man yells at sky. Right?
When you mentioned her name, I thought you were going to bring up the other story that's in the news today about
What's that? What'd she do?
Well, she claimed in her recent rant in the House that the Republicans passed the term limits to prevent Roosevelt from getting reelected, when the fact is that the amendment didn't even go into past Congress until 2 years after Roosevelt was dead.
Right. It was to prevent it from ever happening again, I would say, but obviously wasn't what the Republicans did. By the way, I think Truman was in office at that point, so is still a Democrat in charge.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get things wrong about history, but in this gal's case, she's constantly running her yacker, so they're going to go after her. In this case, complaining about a $7 croissant. Look, I think that food at the airport's too expensive too. If you don't like it, go ahead and bring something to the airport. Now, mind you, that's going to drive up the pricing of the things that are at the airport. If more people bought $7 croissants at the airport, they'd go down because somebody would be in competition for...
But if you're bringing your own food, that's not your problem.
Right, it's not your problem. Right.
Vendor space at the airport is limited.
Yes, and all behind a security screen, too.
Right,
I mean, the government quite literally prevents you from leaving. You have to buy that if you're going to eat.
And they charge a pretty penny for that space.
Oh, yes, they do. Think about all those waters they throw away that you have to rebuy. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Sodas are too much at football games.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Free Talk Live. You're welcome to call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. We're talking about the outrageous price of croissants at the airport. Apparently, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is outraged and trying to draw a comparison between the price of croissants and minimum wage laws. And I think that the minimum wage law change would be a victory for AOC, as she's known, because that's her people's kind of thing, right? Yeah, minimum wage. But the problem is that, yeah, I mean, the cost of things needs to fluctuate. In an up market, it needs to go up. In a down market, it needs to go down. She's
becoming very good at driving jobs out of New York. Much as when they increased the minimum wage in Seattle to $15, there was a vast drop in restaurant employment. They're seeing a similar drop in employment in New York to do with the increase in the minimum wage there. And what's really interesting is that because of her taking credit for making Amazon cancel their planned second headquarters in New York, there's a
lot of people would have liked that job.
20,000 jobs that were going to be in New York for the Amazon.
And Amazon pays well. It's not like a $10 an hour warehouse or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's
but if you're a liberal, you just hate big businesses, no matter what.
Right. But that has encouraged a number of Bronx residents to actually file for to run against her in the next campaign, saying that she does not actually represent the people and interests of the people of the Bronx.
Well, it's that's actually a headline right here at the New York Post is "Her heart's not in the Bronx. Ocasio-Cortez constituents turn against her." Now, obviously, not all of them did, but some of them did, I guess. I mean, that's the way that goes. If she
gets some good opposition in the campaign, that'll be a nice contest. It only took her 14,000 votes to win in the Bronx, which you would think in an off-term election, even for an off-term election.
It's not like a Republican was going to take the Bronx.
Right. But, that was an extremely small turnout election.
Yeah.
So.
855-450-3733. Let's go to Joe calling in from Albuquerque. Joe, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, first off, not all liberals hate businesses coming in. I think the Amazon fiasco is stupid. But
no, I don't. But I think that there's certainly a percentage of people that will use the term corporation as some kind of pejorative.
Right.
And I'm not saying that I like corporations. I think that people should be responsible for their actions, and corporations limit responsibility in many ways. However, what they're really saying is, I hate people making money and making better lives for their employees.
Right. Well, and to that end, I'd like to say that if you have a business and you can't pay minimum wage, or better yet, a living wage, then your business isn't viable, in my opinion.
But why should you get to say? If somebody wants to work for me for what is minimum wage? Can you tell me? I don't know.
Well, here it's $7.50, I think.
$7.50. Yeah. So if I make an offer to somebody at $7.25 an hour, and they want to take that offer, whose business is it that they want to do that?
You can run your business as a nonprofit and pay your employees nothing as volunteers, and that's perfectly legal. And you can, by exploiting the volunteer labor for your nonprofit, you can pay yourself a nice fat salary that, there's no reason why someone running a nonprofit has to themselves live in poverty. I mean, there's the whole nonprofit corporation.
You both have a good point. But conversely, if you're like say I drive to a really small town, that's very poor to go to work every day, and if the guy offering $7.25 is the only job in town, then it pretty much
if it is
down to.
But that's kind of how pricing works.
So then when you save up to buy a car, which should be kind of the first thing you buy, then you can leave. So what you're telling me is that's a really horrible place to live, and so that everyone should move out.
Money that you made off the $7.25 an hour job, and you pack up and go.
You're saying me.
I mean, plenty of people buy a car.
How realistic is that?
Well, to be honest,
it's entirely realistic. People
wait a
buy
second.
cars working at McDonald's all the time.
People do buy cars working at McDonald's, but I haven't made minimum wage since I was 15 years old. I mean, I spent 8.5 years in prison. I got out and I made more than minimum wage. I mean, what kind of person makes minimum wage as an adult head of household? If you're saying me, I'm an adult head of household.
Right.
So it's different than talking about somebody making minimum wage.
You're putting everybody on your level. For example, I had an employee in California, back in the 80s, who we paid him $15 an hour, which in LA is not much. Even
in the 80s, it sounds like a lot.
It wasn't.
Okay.
It's tough to make it, and they. He didn't have the capacity or capabilities to make any more than minimum wage. So you're
literally telling me that these people are worth less than what, someone making more is. I mean, then that's why they're making less.
Well, here's something very important. If you want that guy to have a job and he's going up against somebody else, then he's going to need to have some wiggle room as far as pricing goes in order to get found. If he's going up against somebody who has normal cognition and he has less than normal cognition, exactly how is he going to make himself more attractive as an employee? Well, one of the ways is lower pricing.
Move someplace where the cost of living is much lower.
But if you have a family to feed, then what do you do then?
Okay, if you're only worth minimum wage, and maybe not even because people are unwilling to hire you at even that, you don't need to go. Leftists have this really weird idea of what a living wage is. They always come up with this 2-bedroom, 4-family number. It's like, if you can't hold a minimum wage job, you don't need to go out and have 3 kids. Yeah. That's insane.
And nobody has ever lived that kind of a American dream lifestyle on a minimum wage, despite what Elizabeth Warren says.
Well, then tell him to go down to the Catholic Church and tell them to subsidize it, because they're telling him to commit insane behavior.
Well, I'd be on board with that, but unfortunately, they tend to think that they're going to get. They're going to burn in hell if they don't obey what they're being told.
I can't explain what the Catholic Church's beliefs are.
That sounds
or why
like the
they
Catholic Church's problem. I mean,
so labor's a commodity.
Else's problem.
Labor's a commodity. And you don't go and complain that maybe Walmart has, this item or that item priced at what it has it at. You don't call that, this is discriminatory against Chinese workers in such and such a province. What you're concerned with is you're concerned about labor here in the United States. And that is pretty myopic in the sense that you're just focusing on one thing. But I mean, everything has its price. Somebody's willing to pay whatever they're willing to pay, and they're not willing to pay something more. So I'm not going to get involved. An employer, and there's not always just one in town, can bid back and forth against for an employee. That's what wages are. They're a bid for labor, and somebody accepted it, and they're always looking. If iHeartMedia wants to come to me and offer me twice what I'm making here at Free Talk Live, I'm going to have to chat with Ian.
Well, it's good to have options. I've always had options, but I always feel for those who don't.
I feel similarly.
You're, nothing that you're proposing is going to give people additional options. If when I was 16, somebody had raised the minimum wage to $25 an hour, that would not mean that I would be making $25 an hour.
No, you would be unemployed.
People, I was kind of more mad at them, at the time, just because I was more mad in general. these people weren't trying to help me. They didn't propose anything to help me at the time. They wanted to take away what options I had. You're trying to take away the option this guy has.
Minimum wage laws do not boost you up the ladder. They cut out rungs from the economic ladder.
Thank you for the call, Joe. Appreciate it. Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733. It's Free Talk Live. If it's between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time, we are live here on the radio for you to call in and talk about whatever is on your mind. It's Mark with you.
Melanie.
And Mike.
855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE. And I'm going to ask you for a favor. Please go to twitch.freetalklive.com. We're trying to get enough viewers on Twitch that we get some kind of partner status or something like that. And we've been on there for a couple of years now. And, it's not like there's a lot of libertarian talk shows on Twitch. If we can get this, we'll get more people to see us on the front page. We'll get front page status, and then people will see us, and then people who are not necessarily looking for libertarian politics, necessarily libertarian issues, would be seeing us, and you're helping to spread the word. So please, this is a form of activism you could do from your computer. Go to twitch.freetalklive.com and open up a window browser and leave it open as long as you can, like literally 45 days. Twitch.freetalklive.com. Let's go to Joe calling in from Florida. Joe, you're on Free Talk Live.
I heard you talking about Ocasio-Cortez stating that the Republicans had passed a law to keep Roosevelt from running for president again.
Yes.
But I was alive at that time. I know that Roosevelt was dead. And I also, one of the things you didn't mention or nobody mentioned was that when they did pass that law, Harry Truman was the president, and he was exempted from it, which was the honorable thing to do.
Yeah, I suppose that makes some sense.
And I always thought that was a very honorable thing to do. I also think that term limits need to be imposed on more politicians than they are imposed on. But
yeah, I have to. I've been converted. Originally, I was like, sort of like, term limits. It's just moving the deck chairs around the Titanic. I'm of the opinion that, well, it's probably better than not doing it. So I'm on board with that. But it seems like the government's going to get bigger and bigger. Whether they got term, there's term limits in lots of states, and their governments get bigger.
Well, part of it is because once someone's out of office, they go into lobbying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of opposed to term limits. They increase the time preference to a kind of extreme
You also
degree.
mentioned libertarian, and I am a libertarian.
Good.
I'm registered as a libertarian because I am kind of fed up with both of the parties of the two-party system.
Yeah, it's what else are you going to do except step out of the system and attempt to vote someplace else? It's not like
or don't vote. I know people that don't vote because they're fed up, and
yeah.
I think that's stupid.
Yeah, I see why they do it, but
I understand why they do it, but I think that there is a chance. I mean, there's several third parties out there: the Constitution Party, the Libertarian Party, and all the Green Party. Some I like and some I don't, but there are third parties.
Well, do they all live in the same?
If you're fed up with the two, why just quit voting?
Do they all live in the same state as you? Do they live in states where they can vote for a third party because they're on the ballot?
Well, I live in a state where I can vote for a third party.
Right, but do all these other people also live in the same state?
The majority of them live in one of two different states. And yes, both of those two states, they could vote for a third party.
I
say use your vote for a protest vote.
I frequently tell people that if all the people who said that they didn't want to throw their vote away on a third party actually voted for a third party, they would be getting elected.
Well, look, let's go back to Ross Perot.
Yeah, let's do that.
When he ran, all of a sudden, when he was coming up in the polls so fast, both of the two major parties started saying many of the things he was saying.
Yeah. They adopted many of the stuff, much of his platform.
A lot of the Republican contract with America was based on stuff that Perot had been talking about.
That Perot did, yes. But the Democratic Party started moving towards some of the things he was saying, too.
Yeah, I don't think that third parties are necessarily electable, at least at a federal level, but that's kind of what their purpose is, to kind of push one or the other towards something.
They push at least on the federal level, at least they can push them towards a better thing for we the people.
I agree with you. Joe, thank you for the call. Hope you call in again sometime. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. All they're going to give you is a vote. I mean, you can get involved as you want to get involved, and certainly that'll make you more effective. But basically, all most Americans get is a vote. And if you're not happy with what you're getting, I can see why you'd choose to go third party. Generally, I do. But, there's times when I kind of look back in retrospect, and I'm like, oh, boy, I'm not so sure about that. Anyway, I got a story here that I wanted to get into here in the next hour about Walmart being in competition with Amazon. And I think that this is the competition for the next decade. Is you're going to see these two big behemoths going at it. I want to talk about that a little bit more. But going back to the article we had here on Ocasio-Cortez, she has been apparently calling out her co-workers or her fellow Congress critters, her fellow liars and thieves about what they're paying their staff. She said, when Ocasio ran for Congress this week, there it is. I went to a dive spot in D.C. for some late-night food. I chatted up the staff. Several bartenders, managers, and servers currently worked in Senate and House offices. This is a disgrace, she tweeted at the time. Congress, of all places, should raise MRAs so we can pay staff an actual D.C. living wage. She announced in February that no member of her staff would make less than $52,000 a year. And although Ocasio-Cortez sometimes scrambles her facts, she got the croissant price right. In fact, that the croissants do cost that. And first off, I don't think a lot of people are working in Congress for minimum wage, but it's probably expensive to live in D.C.
Oh, yes.
$52,000 a year. I don't know if that's a living wage or anything like that, but I would have called that at one point in my life, what I wanted to reach, like a pinnacle of earning potential for me about 10 years ago.
Yeah. Well, if you're living in upstate New Hampshire or downstate Florida in the Panhandle or wherever, then, that's a pretty good wage. But
in D.C., it's not much.
No, it doesn't go very far.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping to make when I right out of undergrad. But I was also living in a place with a much lower cost of living.
The minimum wage proponents tend to move the goalposts on you a lot, though. They'll talk about how many people are making minimum wage, and then they'll speak as though those people are career-minded, head of household, have kids, and those kind of things.
And not 16. Maybe they could make more money if you lift the hour restrictions on them. And they can work more. Maybe that's.
And that's a really important point, Melanie, because when in 2008, when the economic downturn occurred and people getting riffed from their jobs and they're going to work at a fast food restaurant making minimum wage, and so you've got a situation where a 30-year-old is going up against a 15-year-old for the same job at the same price. The 15-year-old can no longer ask for a lower wage in order to get trained on how to work. That's why you've got a generation of incompetent boobs at this point that don't know how to work. I started working at 12 years old.
Oh, but
I wasn't even making minimum wage at the time.
I would say that was a temporary thing a decade ago.
Yeah, sure.
Now there's massive teenage unemployment. But it's impossible for business people to find to hire useful teenagers to work at any wage.
I think that what it did was it just basically stopped teen work, and it's probably never going to come back in our lifetimes.
Parents are just coddling their kids these days. They're letting them, live in the basement and play their video games, and you just,
Admittedly, the little computers we carry around in our pockets now are far more interesting than the lint that I carried around in mine when I was, in the 1980s. But, I mean, kids have to have an opportunity to work. If you want to have this group of people who's prepared for the next generation, they've got to get jobs. And, they have to make it easier for employers to employ these people, not harder. It's almost impossible.
Well, they need to teach them to have a work ethic in school, which doesn't happen.
Well,
you can't really teach that by reading it in the book. You have to be like, okay,
it's sure
if
not
you want
work.
This, you have to have a job.
Well, you're not going to take
that's
government bureaucrats and teach somebody a work ethic. How does that work? Union member government.
Well, what are you
going to
do when you've got no father figures being there saying you're going to get a job, whatever.
I don't know. All you can do is raise your own kid right.
Yeah.
There's really not much you can do about on a societal level. Anybody who tries to do that just ends up wiping out the next generation, some kind of purge or something. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
Business owners, you want more customers? Accept cryptocurrencies. There's people all around you just waiting to spend money at your store. If only you would take it. I know, you've been waiting till someone else makes it easy. Well, good news. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com adds Bitcoin to your point of sale, totally free. Use the same equipment you already have, now with Bitcoin. And unlike credit cards, there's no fees. Let the guys at HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com bring new customers to your store. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you are free to call in and talk live here on this live edition of Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
Melanie.
And Mike.
The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. And I got a story here from fastcompany.com talking about how Walmart's ready to take on Amazon. And Amazon really has, stepped in and eaten some of Walmart's lunch, as far as retail goes.
They just bought Whole Foods recently, so they're going into the food.
Yeah, eating their organic lunch.
Yeah.
But Walmart is going to try to fight back, and I think they've got a very clever plan here that may actually work. When I first read this, I'm like, oh boy, the dinosaur is lashing with its tail.
Oh yeah, you can order from Walmart online and pick up food at the Walmart. I tried this out at the Lebanon Walmart, and I was grossly unimpressed. Now the Lebanon Walmart isn't one of the large Walmarts. They don't have the room to build the whole pickup area where you pull your car in and they come out and load your stuff in. You've actually got to walk in.
I'm really not impressed with the idea of parking in a Walmart parking lot, walking into the Walmart and getting food.
I had to walk all the way to the back of the store.
Oh boy.
To where the pickups were.
Yeah.
And my stuff wasn't there.
Oh boy.
And they said, "Oh, it's going to be here next week." And I'm like, you guys are doing this.
I ordered food.
Yeah,
what?
You guys are doing this to compete with Amazon. Next week doesn't cut it. If I'd ordered this from Amazon, they probably would have been dropping it off at my house with a drone by now.
Right, a helicopter over your house. The helicopter. All right, let's go to the phones here real quick before we get into it. David calling in from New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, I want to address, there's a recurring theme. Humans having children. There's the argument that if people can't afford children, then they shouldn't have them. And where does that come from as compared to that having children is simply the natural state of things?
Well, there's lots of things that are natural that are a bad plan.
That are a bad plan. So whose plan is that?
The plan of whoever is doing the action, kind of by definition. Just because something's natural doesn't mean you should do it. I mean, it's natural if somebody walks up to you and curses you out to punch you in the face. It doesn't mean you should do it.
Who made that rule?
Physics did. So whether you want to attribute that to God or evolution or whoever you want to credit with that, that's kind of physics. Yeah. If you don't have enough of food to feed another person,
you wind up with Somalia.
Enough food. Why would I not have enough food?
because you suck. But I'm not saying you personally are in that situation.
Excuse me just a minute. Did you just say that I suck in the course of this conversation?
I said if a person does not have enough of food to feed themselves and they are living in the U.S., which is what we're talking about, yeah, they suck.
Okay. Thanks for differentiating that. So now, why would a person not have enough food?
Because they're not producing enough to get enough food. If we're talking about a developed nation, that is the case.
Why would they not have enough food? Why would they not be able to produce enough food?
Well, produce enough money to buy food, I think is just what she's saying.
Because they're being
Well, wait a minute. Why would you need money? Why would you need money to buy food? I'm standing, and anybody can, but just for example, I'm the only person in the middle of 50,000 acres. I think there's enough land out here for me and about 1,000 other people to raise enough food to live on. So what is the problem? Why
That's another option if you want to grow. I'm not saying you have to buy it from Walmart.
Yeah,
you can grow your own.
The answer to Mark. Wait a minute, Melanie. Mark asked me a question. Let me answer it. Yes, there's enough water.
Okay, New Mexico. To me, I think of 50,000 acres in New Mexico as being dry.
The Rio Grande is less than 2 miles from me.
Okay.
All of the snow from southern Colorado melts and goes down the Rio Grande, and the Rio Grande continues to flow 2,000 miles all the way to the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay,
and that's just the Rio Grande. That's not rainfall, and that's not underground water.
So we had a garden at my house for some time, and there's no way we could have ever produced enough food for 3 people to have worked a job and produced food. There's no way I could have ever done it.
I've lived in New Mexico when I was in the Air Force, and when I first arrived there, coming from the Northeast, I'm like, this is the butt side of the moon. And when I was going to Cannon Air Force Base, which is in eastern New Mexico, up on the high mesa, and the local community leaders held a monthly luncheon for all the new airmen showing up on base, and I'll remember to my dying day that the guy who was like the leader of the local business community ran this. Basically, instead of a city council, they had this group called the Council of 50, which everyone called the Shifty 50, and it was mostly retired officers who owned all the businesses in town. And he would get up there, and his story was that welcome to Clovis, New Mexico. There's a girl behind every tree, so if you can find yourself a tree, you've got it made.
No, good. Not too many trees.
No.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So getting back to what I was attempting to illustrate is, I keep hearing that humans should not reproduce unless they can afford to spend. What do they need, Melanie? In your calculations, do they need to have how many thousands of dollars per month?
It depends on where you live. It depends on where you live. You need food, a place to live. Like, I'm not. If you can make it on $15,000 a year, I mean, that's your business. The only time these people are coming to me and saying I don't have enough money, and so my response is then be better. Like, I don't.
But ultimately what you're saying is that people who have not become clever enough to separate other humans from their cash, from their fiat money, because that's what we're talking about.
Provide them with the product or service they need.
Then they should not reproduce.
Yes, if you're not intelligent enough, because we were talking about U.S. minimum wage laws. So if you were in Venezuela, this does not apply to you. We were talking about U.S. minimum wage laws. If you were living in the U.S. and you cannot figure out how to make enough money or grow enough food or however you want to do it to support yourself so that you do not starve to death, yes, you do not need a kid.
That is not genocide. Okay, that's called evolution in action. Okay.
Well, welfare is what's genocide. This is the opposite of genocide.
Who created welfare?
The states.
The socialists.
Who is the state? Who is the state?
A bunch of a-holes running around with AKs telling people if they don't give them 50% of their income, they're going to shoot them in the face. That's what the state is.
They use ARs.
What is an a-hole?
What, do you want a definition?
Well, the FCC is a thing, so you're going to have to figure that one out on your own.
The government is an organization of human beings that is the most successful gang in a given geographic area.
Okay, good. So we're back to humans. So it is humans that are doing this to other humans.
Yeah, that's the course of history.
So there's humans that are telling other humans not to reproduce.
It's probably a good idea to not reproduce if you cannot.
People that
look. There are lots of people in the government that want you to reproduce if you are not capable of people who are not capable of paying for their children to reproduce.
An average human being needs 2,000 calories per day. If you're having
it's way less than that for an average person.
Less for kids. But if you are not earning enough money or otherwise gardening or hunting or whatever to provide for yourself, never mind kids, enough calories to live, so you're starving your children because you are good for nothing economally or productively, then you should not be having kids. You are abusing children by starving them.
So the criterion is if you're clever enough to produce 2,000 calories a day per kid, then it's okay to have them.
Yeah, and that's a pretty low bar, but yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's an extremely
I was doing
low bar
that at 16 years old, and then again at 18 years old, working at McDonald's with no roommates, paying all my own bills, and I wasn't starving to death. But you know what I was smart enough to realize I didn't need was a baby.
So we've established it's fairly simple to create 2,000 calories a day per person in your family. So why is there any argument that humans shouldn't have whatever children that they have?
Because they're coming to us saying
no one's saying that they shouldn't have the children they have. They're saying they shouldn't have any more. Thanks for the call, David. 855-450-3733. 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live. You can call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
Melanie.
And Mike.
I want to tell you about MyPillow. Not MyPillow specifically, although that's my experience that we're talking about. It's the MyPillow brand. MyPillow is just the single best pillow I've ever used in my life. And I, by the way, am not getting paid to do this live read. This is, if you use our coupon code, we'll get paid on it. But, I'm not dying for people that will give me a revenue share program here, people. I'm telling you, I love MyPillow because I do. I love it. You hold what it does is hold your head and neck in the right position. If you're getting headaches, you're having difficulty sleeping, things like that, maybe you should start with a pillow change. If you've got a down pillow, yes, you should start with a pillow change immediately. Throw that antiquated thing away and get a MyPillow. I slept on one for years. They've got a 60-day money-back guarantee. You've got nothing to lose. You can hold the down pillow in your closet for 60 days. How's that? If that'll make you feel a little bit better. If you use our coupon code, FTL, you get free shipping. Go to MyPillow.com. You get 2 MyPillow premium pillows for one low price, and you get free shipping with coupon code FTL. If you don't like it, you've got 60 days to return it. Oh, by the way, you can wash a MyPillow. That means that all the little creepy crawlies that are living in all the little different parts of your current pillow, they won't be able to live there if you're washing it. MyPillow.com, promo code FTL. So I've been promoting this article here about Walmart and Amazon and their war, and Walmart's big plan to be come out on top. From FastCompany.com, Catherine Schwab. Walmart's the biggest employer in the country and the largest retail company in the world, but it's currently locked in a battle for consumers' dollars with Amazon that dominates online shopping. Walmart hopes to leverage one staggering fact. 90% of Americans live within 10 miles of a Walmart store. I don't know if I'm in that statistic. In a recent talk at the South by Southwest conference in Austin, Walmart's chief technology officer revealed how the company is thinking, Jeremy King is his name, how the company is thinking of new ways to take advantage of its vast physical footprint to make the shopping experience more convenient for customers, whether in person or online. The key? Walmart stores are doubling as warehouses for online shoppers. It's something other retailers, including Target, are also trying to do to compete with Amazon, but no other traditional retailer has Walmart's scale. The greatest part about Walmart using the Walmart store is that the store is already profitable, King says. And this is true. If you've got an Amazon warehouse, you have to sell things out of it to make money. But you've got a Walmart store currently, which has product, in many cases, within 10 miles, 90% of the cases, within 10 miles of somebody's house, Amazon has to to get that product in, 150, 200, 300 miles from warehouse to your door. Walmart has to get it 10. And that's a distinct advantage for this company. Now, Walmart has a pretty good online website, but people are still used to going to Amazon. As a matter of fact, if you want to shop at Amazon using cryptocurrency, you can go to saveatpurse.com. There, you sign up for an account, you can watch the instructional videos, and you can see how to save 20 to 30% on the things you buy. But we also, if you want to shop at Walmart, you can go through shop.freetalklive.com, and we get a portion of your purchase price. But I don't think anybody's done it recently.
Are you getting like a 15% affiliate on that?
I have no idea what our affiliate fee is.
I actually
Amazon fired us as an affiliate.
Several years ago, I actually built a VR simulator of a Walmart.
Virtual reality simulator.
Virtual reality simulator, and signed up as an affiliate with Walmart. And so I had virtual versions of all the products on the shelves.
Wow.
And you could click on them, and it would go to that product on their website. And would give you could go and shop at virtual Walmart and buy actual stuff.
It's impressive.
And
that's because they can't. So if you want to buy something from Walmart, you have to Google, X product Walmart. Whereas on Amazon, I can just type in what I'm looking for, and unless it's something really weird that also means something else, it's going to come up.
So Walmart's search engine is not great?
Yeah, no, they just have one of the ones like everybody else has that just doesn't work.
Well, the other problem is that Walmart prices are Walmart prices, whereas on Amazon could be carrying their stuff, but all kinds of merchants can sell stuff on Amazon.
Walmart carries third-party sellers also.
Oh, they do.
The website?
I have not seen that.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not good because their website's not good, but yeah, they're on there.
Okay, well, that's impressive. The greatest part about Walmart using the Walmart store is it's already profitable. If you can use those warehouses, it's a game changer. As warehouses, it's a game changer for us, and that's true, right? Like they're putting stuff out on shelves, they're warehousing merchandise already. Most of the cost of e-commerce is in shipping. If you think about the ability to have deployed inventory 5 miles away from 70% of Americans, so I guess 90% of Americans live within 10 miles of a Walmart, and 70% of Americans live within 5 miles of a Walmart is the statistic here. And this is true for Ian. It's not true for me, I don't think. I'd have to look at, as the crow flies, I'm sure, is the statistic they're looking for. I know you can. It is not a 10-mile drive from my house to a Walmart, but I'm curious. I'd have to go take a look at maps.google.com.
I think it'd be close there. Because I drive by your house to get here when
I've actually moved, but it's close to that house, yes. And it's a little farther from my current house to that one, but yeah. You can figure out the last mile. You're talking about making a difference in profitability, and he's right. Basically, with 70% of Americans living within 5 miles of Walmart and 90% living within 10, Walmart just has to get product to you 5 or 10 miles, and it's in pretty good shape. Amazon has to go a lot further, a lot faster. And it's going to take some work for Walmart to pull this off, but Amazon pulled it off. They can move the product 200 miles, in many cases a day. I have Amazon Prime, so if I buy something, it's you got 2-day shipping or whatever.
Right.
It's usually there in a day.
Yeah. I don't know. When I ordered stuff on Walmart, it didn't get shipped to me. I had to go pick it up. So if Walmart is...
They have to solve that problem.
Yeah.
Desperately need to solve that problem. Because people are wanting to leave their houses less and less, it seems. I read stories about young people. Look, I don't know what young people do at night. I have no idea. But I read stories about them. They don't even want to go out. When I was a kid, 16, 17, 18 years old, I'm constantly arguing with my mother to try to get another half an hour out of this lady. Oh, midnight. How about 12:30?
I actually wouldn't mind picking it up if I could just drive up there and have them loaded in like you see on the TV commercials.
That'd be nice.
I don't want to park and then go in the store and the whole point of doing this online is to avoid that store experience.
That's not a convenience.
Yes.
Yeah, especially when December rolls around. Walmart is a nightmare when Christmas shopping begins.
I try to just buy a bunch of groceries in November, and that never actually works.
And not just because your typical Walmart denizens are not the most attractive people to be around.
Well, I suppose. I mean,
they don't have to be
everybody's
they just
there,
have to not stand in the middle of the hallway.
In spandex.
But everybody's at Walmart. I mean, yes, there's certainly some great pictures on the internet, and frankly, if you go in real life, you'll find a few whoppers. But I mean, everybody's there. I'm there if I'm seeing them.
Oh, I love shopping at Walmart. I just don't like the other people that were shopping.
That's part of shopping at Walmart.
Other people. 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
It's Free Talk Live. You're welcome to call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
Melanie.
And Mike.
Reading this story from fastcompany.com about Walmart taking on Amazon. And their plan to compete, I think, is very good. Now, implementation, it's all about implementation. Oh, yeah. And Amazon didn't get where they are overnight. They've been around for going on 20 years now. And they've been successfully delivering things to your door over time. They didn't start with two-day free delivery or anything like that. It took them a while to get their processes down. But Walmart doesn't need to deliver 1 to 300 miles from their warehouse in 2 days. They just need to deliver 5 miles or 10 miles from their store, because they said 90% of Americans live within 10 miles of a Walmart store.
Walmart is not one of these old-fashioned stores. I mean, you can compare the situation where Walmart has to compete against Amazon versus Sears Roebuck, which has just gone bankrupt. And you would think that the company that pioneered direct marketing and mail order sales would have this stuff down pat and would roll with changes in the marketing, but they didn't. And Amazon ate them for lunch, and now Walmart sees what happened to Sears and says, we don't want that happening to us. We better get with the program.
History is replete with these stories of these great companies crumbling before competition. And sometimes we should be more surprised that the Sears Roebuck Company did crash and burn in our lifetimes. I mean, we should be stunned. I remember looking at that Sears catalog when I was a kid. I remember the WGS, I think, WLS, world's largest store, the radio station that was broadcast from the Sears Tower, the one-time tallest building in America. This is all Sears, and it's crashed.
As kids, we used to go through the Sears catalog and mark up what we wanted for Christmas.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
You put your initials down, what you wanted for Christmas, and so then the parents could decide, what Santa was going to get you.
Yeah, what they were and we're not going to get you. Yeah. I probably got too much, but absolutely, it's the truth. That was part of life. Going on here. Walmart, at Walmart, users create shopping baskets online and schedule them for delivery whenever they want, adding items up until the night before the scheduled time. The reason they can order so late is because a fully stocked Walmart store is so close by. Also, Walmart uses a machine learning algorithm to predict which items frequent shoppers will want every week. King says that shoppers order the same items they ordered the previous week 85% of the time. I mean, this is true. My wife buys a particular brand of a paper towel and a particular brand of toilet paper, And I
eat the same stuff all the time.
Right. I mean, that's you know what you like.
Tuna, spaghetti, pasta, tomato sauce.
You can go to the store and see new things. It's always a good idea to try out some new stuff, get new things in your diet. However, you know the things that you're going to buy.
Yep.
And I'm sure he's absolutely right that 85% of the time they're holding what you want within 10 miles of you. And all they got to do is get it to you. So the company doesn't have to worry much about running out of stock, at least not too much.
Well, that's not my experience with Walmart. But okay.
Walmart runs out of things?
Walmart runs out of things all the time.
Okay. I'm not familiar. I don't do the shopping at my house. I just know what business plans look like, and this seems like a good one.
It's not as bad up here, like everything else, as it was in Covington, but Louisiana. Yeah, there they would just be like out of spaghetti or out of like just basic things. They seem to be not as good, and this is speculation
happens in Claremont, which is a city between Keene and where I live in Lebanon. Claremont has a lot of people on welfare and Section 8 housing and that sort of thing. And when they get issued their checks, they're all going to the Walmart.
But they know that.
Shopping.
They know on the 1st or on whatever it is.
But they clean that store out.
Well, they get more stuff. I mean, I think Melody's right. If this happens 3 times in a row, store manager, that ought to be your job.
Yeah, they were just like not doing inventory. I don't know what they're doing up here. I know in Covington they would just not do inventory. Be like, oh, the computer does inventory. No, it doesn't.
They have new inventory. I believe this story talks about it. New inventory solutions. So because Walmart has so many stores that are so close to so many people, it may actually be more convenient for someone to stop by their local store than wait for a delivery to arrive. Walmart stores now feature large vending machine-like towers where you can pick up an online order, and lockers for even bigger delivered items. These ideas are similar to Amazon's self-service delivery lockers, which are often stationed at stores like 7-Eleven. I didn't even know about that. But while Amazon pays a monthly fee to stash its lockers in other companies' retail spaces, Walmart already has the real estate to scale up their pickup stations across the country without need to rent space. King says, this is the Walmart guy, his brainchild, right? Says the company is applying this same logic to groceries for people who want to avoid the chaos of walking up and down the aisles of their local Walmart instead of want to pick up groceries on their way home from work. I don't care about being in the Walmart. I care about stopping at the the parking lot. That's what I care about. I just don't want to be in the parking lot. I don't want to park my car. I don't want to walk into the store or anything like that.
I hate the Walmart parking lots. You go in there and all the other people are just moseying along at the slowest possible pace. It's impossible to get around.
And then, it's not like, if you wanted to, it's not like running into a store. It's just so much bigger. Everything's on a grander scale. And maybe I just need to man up and live with these things.
But that's the choice you made when you decided not to go somewhere more expensive. Like, of course, the cheaper place is busier.
It's true. Instead of they want to pick up their groceries on their way home from work, Walmart has built tech tools to enable it. Some Walmart employees called personal shoppers use an optimization app that charts out a pathway through the store so they can pick up all the groceries that people have ordered in the most efficient way possible. But they're not just filling one shopping cart at a time. King says that each personal shopper could be filling around 8 different orders at once, each of which could have 50 to 100 items. The app routes the person through the store so that he or she has the shortest path to pick up every single ordered product. This is a whole new job description, basically. You make an order, and somebody's job it is to look on their little phone or some kind of device.
An awesome personal shopper. I mean, that's a great add-on for Walmart to enhance their business.
And Walmart likely isn't going to have to raise prices to do it. There's already what they call pickers warehouses, and what Amazon has pickers, and they're going and they're putting your stuff together. Walmart's prices tend to be pretty competitive with Amazon, is my guess.
I mean, that's the one thing I won't complain about with the trial orders that I did with Walmart is the pricing was great.
Yep.
One of my packages was dented up, but other than that, and I didn't like going into the store to get my stuff. But other than that, the prices are fantastic.
Soon they're going to be delivered to your house.
I hope so.
King here says, think of the stores as mini warehouses. when the employees meet customers in a designated pickup area and load their bags directly onto their car trunk. So there you go. They're going to bring it out to you. That would be, for a lot of people, I think, preferable if they could have like sort of some lanes where they just, you just pull in and then the personal shoppers come out and put your stuff in within a couple of minutes and off you go.
They have that in Manchester.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. There are lots of big cities. One problem with treating your store like a warehouse is that you're probably going to run out of products faster. King talked about how one of Walmart's never-ending challenges is that a product will be out of stock. Employees used to be charged with walking the aisles to spot out-of-stock items, but now Walmart's rolling out a robot that's designed to do just that. Equipped with cameras and a map of what's supposed to be on the shelf, the robots stroll around hunting for missing items. If it finds one, it alerts a store employee to restock the item. So they do have stuff in the back room.
And I've noted that weather in this area of the country will really mess up Walmart inventory because they've got trucks moving all the time, and when the weather, particularly blizzard, stops those trucks from moving, the shelves are going to go empty.
You really sell enough stuff, and one day delay makes a big difference. Yeah. $8.55, $4.50 free. You think this is going to work? You think Walmart's at the end of it all? Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live, final segment. We might be able to squeeze a call in. The number's 855-450-3733, or you can use the Discord chat. You go to discord.freetalklive.com, download the app there, and then you can use that, call in, and you sound great. Discord.freetalklive.com. It's Mark with you.
Melanie.
And Mike.
Finishing up this story here from fastcompany.com about Walmart getting in competition with Amazon. They're discussing how Walmart has these inventory robots now that are constantly checking. There's more than 1,000 of these robots patrolling Walmart stores across the U.S., and they're constantly checking the inventory. They also integrate with an accordion-style conveyor belt that's used to unload trucks at 400 Walmart locations. The conveyor belt automatically sorts all the boxes coming out of the truck into different departments. That's pretty impressive that these robots are knowing where to send these items. If the shelf-scanning robot notices that a product is out of stock, it can notify the conveyor belt robot, which will put any items that are out of stock into a priority queue so that people can put the items back on the shelf as soon as possible. It's bringing the logistics and automation of a warehouse right to the store where people are shopping. Walmart plans to build support warehouses on the sides of some stores for what he's called high-velocity grocery items, stuff that's always in demand that could cut down in time for personal shopper employees who are collecting items for delivery or pickup. Employees could then head over to the store itself for items that consumers typically request less, like cooking utensils. With all of it being enough to, will all of that be enough to beat Amazon? It's too early to tell. But Walmart's profits are surging. In 2018, its online sales grew 40%. That's pretty impressive. I don't personally like to shop online because I feel like you hunt around too much looking for stuff. I just don't want to do it. But
I just don't like being scammed on, and I've had enough of these situations where I've ordered stuff online and never gotten what I ordered.
Okay.
I've never gotten that from a company. I've gotten that from people.
I got that from something I ordered that was advertised on Facebook.
Okay.
So I'm...
Well, what I find is that the bigger companies do their best to... They may not have the whole variety of things the little companies have, but the bigger companies are pretty good about delivering what they say they're going to deliver. Anyway, the company ends its fiscal year in January 2019 with $500 billion in revenue by using technology to put the company's colossal retail footprint to work. For online deliveries and orders, Walmart's showing how tech can transform traditional retail into something of a hybrid. I know they can do it. The question is whether they pull it off or not, because a lot of history's littered with these giants of retail or giants, of business.
I think they'll pull it off because Walmart's still young enough where the people that are still running the company were involved in its massive growth. It's not a mature company where all they care about is delivering dividends to shareholders. which is kind of the situation with like Sears Roebuck, where the people running it are just managers. They're not innovators, or they're not expansionists into going into new markets.
It's a real catastrophe what happened to Sears, but I mean, presumably the market's better for it.
Yeah,
they decided they got on the wrong side of Kmart and got on the wrong side of quite a few things. Just didn't work out.
I miss my Craftsman tools. That was my favorite line. Despite all the Snap-on and Mac tools and so forth, I really love the Craftsman line of tools. And
I was raised that Craftsman was the best tool you could own.
And then they decided that they should advertise selling dresses. That was weird when that happens.
Craftsman dresses?
No, Sears. They decided that they weren't a tool company anymore.
Okay.
They were now a clothing company and advertised that heavily, which I think shot their credibility. It was just really weird when they did that.
I can't tell you when we stopped shopping at Sears, but it was somewhere in the very early 80s. I mean, basically it just wasn't for us anymore. But I still did go in there for tools now and then.
Oh, yeah. Like a lot of the local Sears stores basically got whittled down to where they were selling tools and appliances
and tools, yeah. And those are things that they were making money on, and that's what they should do. But obviously, they weren't able to compete against the big ones.
Yeah.
And we'll see whether this happens or not. But Amazon isn't exactly posting profits either, although there's a lot of revenue, and I suspect they could. And Bezos is obviously a very rich guy. As I understand it, I mean, I don't keep up on these things or anything like that. But Amazon keeps its profits low, so it doesn't have to pay taxes on it, and so they can continue to expand and grow and grow and grow.
Their gross profits they reinvest in developing technology and expanding their distribution and so forth. So they're very focused on their growth. So they don't pay a lot of dividends because they're delivering shareholder value by expanding the value of the company.
And as I understand it, there's most of like a good portion of Amazon's revenue comes from a few sort of sectors. Like they do a lot with this Amazon Fire. They make a lot of money that way, and they do real well with server farms or something.
Oh, that was something where they really basically created a whole industry that people in tech thought they were crazy about, but they got such a big lead in providing virtual server services because they needed them themselves, that by the time that became a thing in the market, nobody else could provide the service that they could provide.
So Amazon is the cloud.
Yeah.
The cloud, somebody else's computer. Look, I'm not rooting for Walmart or over Amazon or Amazon over Walmart here. I just thought this was an interesting innovation. Walmart does have a leg up on Amazon. And I think that a lot of people, probably myself included, really just kind of expected Amazon to grow and Walmart to shrink. I'm not enamored with the online experience of shopping at Walmart that I have had in the past.
Yeah, there's still two different things in my head. Like, Walmart is for groceries and things I can buy immediately, and Amazon is for things that I can't get a hold of immediately.
There's an interesting thing going on with Amazon where you talked about the distance to the Walmart stores versus the Amazon warehouses. Amazon is bringing in a lot of outside distribution centers. For instance, a lot of UPS centers, they're expanding their warehouse capacity to operate as fulfillment centers for Amazon.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea, and Walmart definitely needs to figure out how they're going to get things from the store to your house. So if they're within 5 miles of 70% of Americans, then they've got a pretty small problem to solve.
And that's an interesting problem because that's not delivering 5 to 10 miles isn't a FedEx thing. It's not a UPS thing, and it's not really even a postal service thing anymore. That's going to require some new delivery service, and maybe Walmart is going to innovate that sort of a franchise local delivery service that serves that sort of a market.
My prediction with Walmart on that is that they're going to pretend that cashiers and drivers are interchangeable and mess it up that way, because they've already kind of started doing that.
That's a good point.
And those are two very different skill sets. People aren't interchangeable that way.
Well, I think they do have to worry about, for one, I don't think they can do the gig economy kind of thing. They can't just do Uber and tell you, hey, deliver some stuff and, pick your own hours or whatever, because they're Walmart. They're too big. I don't think Amazon can get away with that either.
They'll be getting automated cars. You're going to have...
Well, they're not going to do it this year. They were talking about fiscal year 2020 for this, they fiscal year January 2019 is when their fiscal year ends. So starting February 2019 is when they're looking for high level implementation. They're not going to be doing that with too many automatic cars today.
Not today, but in the future. And whether it's Uber or Lyft or one of these other new gig economy type driving systems, they're going to do a deal with somebody.
It could be. If they bring somebody in that already has the software implementation in place, then maybe they'll have some success with that. I don't know. I can't say that I'm delighted about the idea of somebody just showing up some random car at my house, dropping off my Walmart order. I don't know. I'd like something slightly more official looking than that.
I'm sure they'll have like a magnetic Walmart sign to put on the side of the car.
I think that that's probably the level of service you're going to get, the magnetic Walmart sign on the side. Anyway, we'll put this show prep in. If you go to our Telegram group at telegram.freetalklive.com, you can sign up there, and we put all the show prep so you can check it out yourself. It's at telegram.freetalklive.com, and you'll find all the great, wonderful things we have there at freetalklive.com. Check out that Discord group too, discord.freetalklive.com.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.